Well, thank you for coming back. I'm Scott Shelody. This is Market Day Report. I'm also known as the Cow Guy, and we'll get to that later. But why don't we jump right in and take a look at what these markets have been doing today. And I have to say, they've been kind of on the quiet side. Corn, whoa, this is almost sharply unchanged. Look at December, up a quarter at 558.5. March, up a quarter at 566.25. So really pretty quiet when we talk about the maize. Let's move on to soybeans. These charts, by the way, are brought to us by Bar Chart. This table, I should say, is brought to us by Bar Chart. And we've got a mixed market in the soybeans. So we've got August down 3 cents, September up 3.25. SEP is up 3.25 at 13.97.5. If we move out just one delivery month to November, that's up a penny. Trying to hold on to some gains there at 13.84.25. But you get the picture about what's really happening today, and that's not a lot. So moving towards the wheat, this is where it is happening. And we've had some bullish reasons why over the last few days, but it's now starting to show its face here in the wheat contract, with December up 17.25 at 679.5, and March up 16.25 at 686.25. The front's up 18.5 as well. September at 672.75. So we are lucky to have with us today Brian Hoops. Brian is joining us with his thoughts on the commodities and especially grains here that I just got done going through. Brian's with us from Springfield, Missouri. What's happening out there? What are you talking to your customers about there? And kind of walk through what I just did with the grains and tell me what's jumping out at you.
Yeah, Scott, we were talking off air about how quiet it is in the grain markets, and it certainly is. But, it's been a very volatile summer, especially for corn, soybeans, and the spring wheat contracts. I think the last day that corn has not had a 10-cent daily range, less than 10 cents, was back in April. So, maybe we're just kind of accustomed to bigger moves, and we don't like this unchanged type of market. But you're talking to a lot of clients in Montana and in the Dakotas, where we have some branch offices there as well. This crop has really been destroyed. There's some harvest is going to start in a lot of areas next week, but markets continuing to put in some premium because not only are the yield numbers starting to come down, but there's a lot of talk about high abandonment weights. A lot of the wheat there has just been swathed and zeroed out. So USDA, I think, is at a 3% abandonment rate. That's going to have to be increased quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And I think that makes your balance sheets even tighter, especially for the spring wheat market, which already has tight stocks, less than a half of what we saw last year after a good crop.
Well, just to your point, I have scribbled down in my notes here. I said it a little earlier on the show, but I'll say it again because it bears repeating. But for a 6-year period, we basically had a 90-cent range in corn. Boy, what would we, it just seems it's not that long ago. And then in the last, say, 4 trading days, we've rallied 54 cents. That'll give you an idea. They haven't we haven't left beans out of that either. For that same 6 years, beans at a $2 trading, roughly $2. I'm using a little artistic interpretation here, but we've just rallied 90 cents in 5 days. So that is the stark difference about how things used to be versus how things are trading now. And I think that we'll talk about that in the next segment, but maybe options are a way to play this type of thing because the game has definitely changed. All right, Brian, stay right there. We'll be right back after this to talk proteins with Brian Hoops. Welcome back to Market Day Report. I'm Scott Shelody, and I am the Cow Guy. We just got done talking earlier in the past segment about how things have kind of been a little quiet. And it's not just us. I did a little homework during the break, and if you talk about gold today, gold has been pretty much stagnant at $1,825 all day long. Crude oil around $72.50 all day long. Even Bitcoin's been quiet around 31,500. And then lastly, the bond yields, a 10-year yield, a 132-ish all day long. So a lot of things today. It's almost like the market's taking a big breather on its own. Let's take a look at live cattle and see if we've got any movement there. Live cattle, it's more of the same, it looks like to me. We've got August off 7 cents, October off 22 cents, December off 17 cents. August currently trades at 121.17. Again, that's 7.5 cents lower. If we take a look at the feeder cattle, this feeder table is brought to us by Bar Charts, by the way. Got to get that in there. A steady, little bit better across the board would have been a call here, right? 20 cents higher in October, 15 cents higher in September, and 40 cents higher in August. I'll give you the prices for those of you on the road listening to us on the radio. August is at 157.35, up 40 cents, and I'll jump down to October, which is at 161.40, up 17 cents. And then lastly, bringing up the rear, lean hogs. Lean hogs, again, a little bit of a mixed market there, still kind of quiet. The front's down, the back's a little higher, but really nobody too far from home when it comes to being around that unchanged level. August is down 80 cents at 104.30, but October up a dime at 89.32. With us is Brian Hoops, I hope, still with us from Midwest Market Solutions. He is the president, so he's the guy to talk to about this stuff.
Not anywhere.
Right. All right. So, Brian, what do you got here in the proteins? What's kind of tickling your fancy, as they say?
Yeah, the livestock market's pretty quiet as well. There's been a little bit of trade in the southern plains at some lower money. Today, there's 124, 125 being traded in the north. So there's definitely some strength in the northern cattle, much tighter supplies up there. I thought the disappointment came in the export sales this morning.
Yep.
Pork was a marking near low, and you can see that market's taking a little bit of a breather, a little setback. It's had some negative news this week with hog weights increasing slightly compared to a week ago, and the poor export numbers. But overall, it's a very quiet market. The cattle market kind of caught in between the two-tiered market system between southern trade and northern trade, and just kind of trying to figure out where it wants to go. Cutouts also mixed, so it's not giving us any real clear direction for the live cattle futures. We'll be talking about cattle on feed report next week. The news wires are gathering estimates for that report, and I don't know if that's even going to move this market. It's just been very quiet, it seems.
Right. And it's nice to know it's not just us. It's pretty quiet across the board. That's Brian Hoops with Midwest Market Solutions. He's the president. Thank you very much, Brian. I'm going to pass it back over to John Jenkinson.